Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. I want to make a quick video today on expanding a little bit on one of the things I mentioned in my earlier videos, which was basically breaking life up into, or reality, into three different levels, which is the body, the mind, and the soul. And one of the things that I have learned on my journey was back in high school, when I had a landscaping company, I was working with, along with doing basketball, I was doing physical work. You could say for upwards of 8 to 12 hours a day, easily. Okay, especially during the summer. I mean, that was 7 in the morning to 7 at night. And then if you play basketball beyond that. So back when I was in high school, the majority of my life was made up of physical work, and that's hard, right? If you go from completely being still to physical work, that is a level of work that's hard. My next kind of phase, going into college, I had to do a lot more mental work. And taking the shift from doing all that physical work, my body was used to that now shifting into having to think, having to focus. Focusing and thinking for more than a couple hours a day, like real focusing where you're trying to solve problems, or reading, getting into the intellectual activity, where your mind has to really, really work. I found that to be quite a difficult process to get over. Now with where I'm at, I can do it pretty regularly for long periods of time. But it takes a whole lot of working out, right? And so then this just leads me to the next level, which is the soul. So on the spiritual work, this is the same thing. The idea is that it has to permeate everything that you do in life, okay? I myself, and well, I won't speak for others, but I myself, it's far from getting into every single reality. But the whole thing of what I'm trying to say is when you work up to the different levels of reality, each one is more and more difficult, okay? It's hard to go do physical work, but eventually your body can adapt and it kind of gets used to whatever standard that you put it through. People who don't work out and they've just got a job doing physical labor, it's hard in those first couple weeks, but then eventually you get used to it. You know, doing the mental work at first, it's not the easiest. And then, well, I don't know, for me, sometimes it still isn't too easy. Mental work, the brain definitely wants to be lazy a lot of times. Whereas for me, even when I have a landscaping company, even if I didn't want to do the things, I was just so in the rhythm of doing it that, I could do it anyways. And then kind of the same with the spiritual work, that you realize, okay, all these things take very, very, very intentional effort. And it's not a surprise to think that each one, there comes with it the idea of moving up in life. Moving up in life. And so we shouldn't be surprised that it's difficult. It's difficult to do the work. So just know, whenever you're training, right? Or whenever you do any type of training, know that it's always trying to work you up to get to those higher realities. If all of reality was just comprised on the bodily level, which is the material level, we could say, well, what's the point, right? And then if we move up there, if we say all of reality is just full of ideas that have no actual bearing, maybe some can have bearing on material reality, but you're just going really hard in the mental world. Well, you could also ask the same thing. What's the point of that? Well, that's when you realize these two realities are there to point you to the third. They're there to make you go higher, and that's when you see the meaning of both of these two realities when it's nested within the third. But these on their own, the hard work within themselves, it's kind of empty within itself. So each level of hard work that you do, know that it gets harder, but also that as it goes higher, it gets more meaningful.